There we go. Just about to ask for any time now. So once again, we're starting with Concrete Man, of which the routing in this stage is mostly based on utility. And for Concrete Man, we really don't need much utility. Not to mention, the concrete shot which we get from this stage is probably the overall best utility in this game. So of course we're going to go to this stage first. So we're going to be seeing a lot of buster usage. So let's see. Hopper taking out our 3 mechanical elephants, taking them out very shortly with very quick mass shots. Each one of them in slightly more increasing difficulty, but our runners will have them all in check. So, like we said, the routing is based on utility, and we go to Concrete Man's stage first to get his weapon. And this stage utilizes the least utility because, of course, all we really got is the rush coil. It's a very short stage. There are some tricky spots here and there, but nothing that our runners can't handle. So on our stream, we got Hyper about to go to Concrete Door first, of course, given stream delay. Cab probably not too far behind, or probably even already in the fight itself, but given a little more focus on Hyper. The Concrete Man fight, we want him not to do that. We want Concrete Man to stay underground as much as possible, as he lingers his jump every time before he comes down the ground. And right now, we're not really getting some good RNG on Hyper's end. While Cab is, he getting some jumps, but probably a smaller number of jumps in comparison to Hyper. So I'll probably say the fights are relatively evenish, but due to Hyper's slightly better ability in Mega Man 9 compared to Cab, he has a few second lead. Alright, so next up we got Magma Man stage. The concrete shot makes Magma Man stage much easier, as you can use it as a platform. You can use it to actually freeze the magma jets that are coming up a little later. And what I didn't get to explain in the first match, as you're about to see what I'm about to do now, or at least attempt to do, you can actually utilize a small little zip to move a few extra pixels quickly in order to just skip just to move a little bit faster. Hyper being wise, missing the laser jet skip, with the laser jet being frozen a little bit too low, and decides to just stand still and just wait for the freeze effect to wear off the jet, which gives Cab a little bit of time to catch up. Anyway, both guys taking out the Chanky Maker very quickly. And we're about to go to our final stretch towards the Magma Man door. But of course, before we do that, we got a long stretch of magma jets that we're hoping to properly freeze with the concrete shot. Hyper's the first one to attempt it. Decides to forego using some of his concrete shot. That was a little scary. Pretty sure that attempt at a hell grab was not intentional. But he safely traverses the rest of Magma Man stage and is about to go to do the Magma Man fight, which is going to be a little bit of a lengthy buster fight, as we don't have its weakness. Like I said, we're here for utility, not for weakness routing. The tornado blow is the weakness for this guy, but the tornado, you will not have enough tornado blow to beat him first off. And actually, thanks to the utility route for this stage, going to Tornado Man later is much more beneficial. For those that are just in for the first time, first of all, welcome to the Mega Man 9 Go for Broke 80% tournament. This is your boy LV Creek commentating with these fine runners that I should actually promote. Be sure to follow our guys. These are some very good runners of Mega Man 9 and very good players in general. Follow our guys at the recommended Twitch channels that I just posted. So we got Hyper going to Galaxy Man, and as I expected, since we're not expecting too much of a change from race 1, MrCab going to Hornet Man. The only real difference is that MrCab just gonna have Hornet Chaser as a safety for Galaxy Man stage. So a little bit of a focus on Hyper's end. Rush Coil, yep, so he can get to this helicopter enemy as soon as possible and utilize his speed to get through this long stretch of screens very quickly. Of course, you don't want to put yourself in a position where the helicopters can literally screw you and drop you into spikes, which can happen. Not only that, but they can actually push you backwards as well. So you actually lose progress as opposed to gaining progress. Meanwhile, Cab getting not too favorably positioned Flower, but still positioned on the left side so he can just go to the screen transition quickly as possible. You do not want that Flower to spawn on the far right. So anyway, we got our guys running along, about to go to the final stretches of screens on their respective stages. MrCab using the concrete shots. One left, he needs to use this. There we go. He has to use it in order to save a little bit of extra platform on his way to Hornet Door. A little bit of focus on Hyper's end as he utilizes the enemy to get to this teleporter faster. If he misses that jump, he will die to the wall of spikes and lose a hefty amount of time. Meanwhile, stacking the Magma Bazookas charged and uncharged, MrCab takes out Hornet Man. Meanwhile, Galaxy Man being a jerk again, flying to the air, shooting down his black hole bombs. Once again, we want a particular swooping pattern from Galaxy Man, and he's capable of doing it twice, in which we call 2 swoops. That's the pattern we want for the quickest possible kill on Galaxy Man. Unfortunately, Hyper did not get that pattern, so he loses a little bit of time in that fight. At this point, this is the point in the run we're probably going to be switching. Galaxy Man and Hornet Man are the de facto robot masters to go through in this stage of the run. So yes, we're going to get ourselves a stage switch. So MrCab is about to be on his way towards our speedy helicopter section, while Hyper is utilizing his rush coil to bypass some of the ladder climbing, which is slow. And he's gonna stick with the rush coil to save a menu, since he's gonna be using Buster anyway to navigate the remainder of the stage until he gets to the Flower mid-boss. MrCab missing one of the helicopter enemies and having to hoof it a little bit in order to get to the next helicopter enemy. And that Flower is just loving that position. All but one Flower fight has been on that lower left corner, with MrCab having the only odd Flower luck being on the exact far left. So we got Hyper on the final screens heading towards the Hornet Door. MrCab got a few screens left before he reaches Galaxy Door. So by the time the stage ends, Hyper, if I guess the times right, in spite of stream delay, Hyper definitely should have quite a bit quite a bit of a lead here. Utilizing the stacking abilities of the Magma Bazooka to take out Hornet Man quickly. Utilizing Task Block on Cab's end, utilizing that damage boost in order to get on that lone concrete shot block. Let's see if we can get 2 swoops on Cab's end. Nope. Galaxy Man continues his jerk-like activities on both our runners. I think we have yet to see 2 swoops on either end. I don't quite remember the refights on both these guys, so we might have, but I missed it. But for right now, I'm saying that we did not have any 2 swoops right now, unless a viewer on chat tell me otherwise, because chat is so helpful on getting us commentators in order. So, Jewel Man, as you can see, Hyper's using the Buster in order to get by these sections here. I'm pretty sure MrCab, if his race one stress on Jewel Man goes, he could use Concrete Shot in order to traverse that stretch of streams. Meanwhile, Hyper utilizing the Hornet Chaser to make sure his way towards the mid boss is pretty much acceptable. Oh, this is a real good position for the cheese ball, except he's kind of blocking the door, but we still want this particular mid boss to be as far close to the door as possible. Of course, not exactly at the door as we saw on Hyper's end, but still a very good position cheese ball. MrCab is coming close to his fight. Hyper having a little bit of issue on that particular swing platform, while Cab got the second to worst cheese ball fight, and unfortunately he gets caught by the trim and the cheese ball gets away. Cab having a hard go on this second time around against the cheese ball. Meanwhile, Hyper having a clean stretch towards the final stretch of Jewel Man fight, going to Jewel Man door, manipulating him in such a way that he gets a lot of hits as he jumps with the massively huge hitbox that the black hole bomb has to get as many hits as possible to kill him with 2 black hole bombs. A very clean fight on Hyper's end. Meanwhile, MrCab is slowly yet surely getting to Jewel Man's door to the Jewel Man fight. And we're going to see how MrCab deals with Jewel Man himself as Hyper goes to Plugman. So, one of the things I didn't get to mention in race 1 is that after 5 Robot Masters defeated, we actually get Rush Jet available, and Rush Jet is massively useful for these final 3 stages, with Plugman being first on Hyper's end. So this is why this is more of a utility route than a weakness route, because the route is done in a specific way where it can maximize all the weapons and all the rush utilities. Unfortunately, Hyper gets screwed up on the global timer and just drops right down to the spikes. The race has now officially gotten a little closer now thanks to that death. MrCab is right on Hyper's heels. This is why the global timer and adjusting yourself to that timer is highly important, so you don't get situations that Hyper just experienced, and just pretty much just giving Cab just a little bit more time to catch up. And once again, this is what I'm talking about, the mistakes that can happen on Hyper's end. I'm beginning to see that Hyper is becoming very prone to mistakes in some of these races. It's these mistakes that Cab is going to need to make this race close. So for right now, good movement with the Rush Jet to ignore all the Yoku blocks along the way. Yet again, one of the reasons why we got the routing as we do right now. MrCab utilizing the black hole bombs in order to... Oh boy. I told you. And now Hyper's in a very bad situation. He does not have enough Rush Jet to bypass these Yoku blocks, and now he's forced to raid out these cycles in order to progress through the stage. This is a very, very significant time loss, and MrCab is taking full advantage of it as he fights Plugman. and defeats Plugman with the Jewel Satellites, in which you have exact ammo to defeat him with. So right now we got a clear and definite lead on Cab's end, while Hyper is struggling to just literally adjust to what's to be a very precarious situation here. And I missed the Big Mama jump on Cab's end, focusing on Hyper's unfortunate scenario. And Hyper misses his Big Mama jump, and he is in dire straits as far as health goes. He needs to be in a position where he does not take a hit on Plugman at all. And since you're literally up close and personal to him, this could be rather scary. And he misses a shot and was low on Jewel Satellite. Hyper is giving me I'm hyperventilating here. Meanwhile, Cab is just doing his thing in Tornado Man stage. Of course, as long as you do Plugman first, Tornado Man is viable by that time. And as you saw, he uses the Rush Jet to ignore the moving magnetic platforms, since those platforms are actually really annoying to traverse in the early stretches of the stage. Hyper going to Splash Woman, opting to do Tornado Man last. Like I say, you can basically do Plugman and Splash Woman at any given time at this point of the route, as long as you do Tornado Man after Plug. So we got Cab dealing with the wind physics. Needs to stay on the ground in this stretch of screens as the wind pushes towards you, which makes your movement in the air slower. Meanwhile, in these screens, they're pushing against you, which makes jump speed faster. Well, jump movement speed faster, as he uses Jewel Satellites as safety from these umbrellas to get to Tornado Door. Meanwhile, Hyper's in, we've seen the MM9 version of the bubble skip, utilizing the Rush Jet and the small bubbles, which do not last long, to transition vertically, and well done on Hyper's end to get the bubble skip. Meanwhile, almost a full-blown tornado, bro. MrCab just not getting the final hits on Tornado Man to not get that last hit before he went up into the air. Meanwhile, Hyper is his struggles in this particular match is continuing. He's just not getting himself into position to use the Rush Jet to ignore these timed moving platforms in Splash Woman stage. And his time loss is continuing to pound up by the second, as he's on his way to Splash Woman's door. Meanwhile, MrCab is beginning Splash Woman stage himself, which is his final Robot Master. But all in all, Splash Woman is just a really straightforward stage. There's not too much to talk about in this stage, other than the final portions of the stage where you are utilizing Rush Jet to bypass a lot of platforming. Otherwise, this will be a very fine stage to start off if you're starting to run Mega Man 9, as not only Splash Woman is kind of an easy fight, as Hyper utilizes the weakness of Horny Taser's Jet's Annihilator. She's the only robot master / mistress to be salt weak to the Mega Buster, dealing double damage. So we got Hyper beating Splash Woman, so he's on his way to Tornado Man. Quite a ways behind here, thanks to some unfortunate situations with Plugman and Splash Woman. So Hyper's got quite a ways to go. Like I said, all MrCab needs to do is just play his race, and he got race 2 in the bag. But we cannot count this game out. As you've seen, this game is vicious. So any mistake can lead to major time loss to any racer. So the race is far from over. Don't forget, we still got the Wily stages to deal with. So we got MrCab going to Splash Woman's door into her room. Hornet Chaser equipped, and we should see a very quick fight here. A solid fight on Cab's end. Meanwhile, Hyper is going to our wind mechanics stretches of the stage. Utilize the rush jet to ignore the wind mechanics that works against your favor, to the point where the wind actually works towards your favor. So we got MrCab the first two the Wily stages, while Hyper is quite a bit of ways behind, skillfully navigating the final stretches of the screen very well toward his Tornado Man fight. Let's see Tornado Man. Let's see if we get 100% full bro. There we go. Finally, a 100% full-blown bronado. No flight whatsoever. Very good fight on Hyper's end. Meanwhile, MrCab starting Wally 1 on his end. Utilizing the Jewel Satellite in order to ignore all the enemies that are clustered in the screen before going to the Rush Jet. It does cost a menu, but it keeps you alive. Speaking of Jet, we're using Rush Jet to ignore the platform mechanics here. We're supposed to be utilizing the Tornado Blow in order to make these platforms rise. But in traditional fashion, if we got a means to skip them all, we're gonna skip them all. Having a little issue with the Rush Jet. Forced to get out and use Coil, causing him a little time with an extra menu. But not too much time as to slow him down drastically. Oh, he misses the quick kill. So he's gonna deal with half of a Shaky Maker cycle. So it's gonna be these small little time losses that MrCab's gonna have to try to limit in order to keep Hyper, who definitely had his fair share of mistakes in this particular game, in order to keep the lead at bay. Anyway, Hyper's coming up to his Shaky Maker fight. I suspect no issues on his end. I repeat, no issues. There we go. There's our one cycle Shaky Maker. Like I said, no issues. Meanwhile, we got MrCab about to go into the Spike Pusher fight, leaving the Rush Jet equipped so he doesn't have to worry about menuing, since technically there is no weakness itself for the Spike Balls themselves, and you're better off using Buster to get synchronized and rhythmic shots to kill every Spike Pusher unit. Of course, like I said, towards the end, the stretch to destroy the remaining units will vary. But I'm suspecting that MrCab, as long as he stays careful, gonna stick with the Buster via Jet in order to destroy each and every unit. Meanwhile, Hyper starting his fight. Let's see, MrCab gotta be careful. He might not have well, it doesn't matter. He defeats him. I was about to say he might not have enough health in order to survive one blow, but he's able to defeat the Spike Pushers, and he's on his way to Wally 2. Meanwhile, Hyper using the same strat as Cav for the most part, utilizing the Buster via Rush Jet in order to defeat the Spike Pushers till he gets to this point where he utilizes the Tornado Blow to move all the spikes at once and defeat the remaining 4 units as quickly as possible. So Hyper, following MrCab not too far, probably about double-digit seconds behind him. Can't quite follow the timers at some point. Gotta keep track with our runner's actual movements. speed of movements, Cap had a little bit of trouble getting the concrete shot on that one Sniper Joe. Once again, these little time losses are gonna matter as Hyper's getting closer and closer to Cap. But that platform miss ain't gonna help Hyper catch up. Missing a platform and falling right down. And Cap once again getting the far left, but missing his shots with the concrete shot, and he has no concrete shot left. We're gonna see how Hyper deals with our flower mid boss. Back to back, Wally 2 got flowers on Hyper's end. That's gonna catch him up that's gonna be a good catch up right there, thanks to the flower not being quite kind to Cab. Cab being careful on these jumps. These are some very treacherous low ceiling jumps. So very smart on Cab not to just go for it. And Hyper shows the consequences of going all out in these sections. Another costly and fatal mistake on Hyper's end, as he takes a jump to the spikes. This is why Wally 2 is such a dangerous stage. There are a lot of treacherous spike platforming in this stage, especially close to the end with these low ceilings and these underwater physics. Literally just put Hyper in a very compromising position. As MrCab finishes off his last vertical stretches until his fight with the Mega Mech Shark, and Hyper falls again, and a game over. And Hyper's just contemplating his options here, and yep, he opts to forfeit the race. Sadly. So MrCab has to finish this race. This is his race to win. As long as MrCab completes his run, we're pretty much guaranteed a race 3. So now it's all in MrCab's hands. If he manages to continue his pace and keep the run as is, ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves a race 3 on our hands. In the meanwhile, full focus on Cab here. Once again, we got our resident sleeper, yet not to be stepped on, Wally 3. As MrCab does a little musical jib. Mega Man 9's form of validation here. But yeah, we got a very slow moving vertical scroller where the only means of movement is from Buster firing, as the force of the Buster will actually move Mega Man left or right depending on where you're facing. But yeah, this is going to be another stage where there are going to be a lot of low ceiling spikes, which is going to make jumping very treacherous. This is why Wally 3 is not to be slept on, in spite of the two resident sleeper portions of the stage. MrCab damage boosting through the Sniper Joes in order to get to the midpoint here, excuse me. So in a couple of screens, we're going to see MrCab get the M-Tank, which I believe is the sole M-Tank in the game. Or at least the one that matters. So he's going to go to the far left of the screen, and here comes a helpful little helicopter enemy. Just easily and smoothly go straight to the M-Tank. You can use it. You can use the Buster in order to get to the M-Tank itself, but you'll also have to deal with a helicopter enemy if you do so. And if you do, you might accidentally be sent to the spikes if you're not ready for it. Meanwhile, MrCab utilizing the laser trident to annihilate all the enemies that are along the way here. Of course, keeping mind to the low ceiling spikes that are along the way. So, let's see. MrCab should be utilizing the black hole bomb, and he's gonna attempt Easy Devil. Once again, we're utilizing the timing of the black hole bomb in order to position it in such a way that with proper pause canceling, use 5 black hole bombs in order to quickly kill. Wait a second, was that a mistimed shot? Oh, we got a couple of mistimed shots. So yeah, we're gonna have to deal with another cycle on Cab's End. Shoutouts to the animated gift on Hyper's End. So yeah, if this was a much closer race, this could have been one of the moments where Hyper could have gained a bit of time. Because missing the Easy Devil is a very notable time block. Probably up to 20 seconds if I believe. 15 to 20 seconds? Once again, I'll probably get corrected on the actual time loss that missing any cycle of the devil adds up to. So once again, we deal with Wally 4. MrCab with no concrete shot is gonna have to go through all these lasers, but then again, concrete use would be rather sparse in this stage anyway, because we're gonna be needing them in order to, well, besides for that mandatory block there, we're gonna be using concrete shot for the rest of the stage, but solely for bosses. Okay, let's see. Nope, we didn't even get a chance. Still no two-swoop pattern from Galaxy, man, as he goes straight up and just fires the black hole bomb right from the get-go. As you can see, flying up to the air and vanishing completely on sight and just wasting time. But of course, this is why we got the M-Tank, to fill up our concrete energy. Because, as I mentioned before, concrete is important. Alright, let's see if we're gonna get the exact amount of damage on Plugman. There we go, not a missed shot in the house. Next up is Tornado Man. Can we get one more Tornado Bro? We got the makings of one. There we go, another Bronado on MrCab's End. No flight whatsoever. So, we got the weakness for Magma, but we do not have enough in order to beat Magma Man unless we do some manipulation in order to get the double hits, which at this point is just a waste of time. And he switches straight to Magma Bazooka to get the final hits, and not only that, have the weakness out and ready for Hornet Man, which Cab takes out very quickly. Okay, we got Jewel Man. Get the black hole bomb equipped. Get that jump manipulation out in handy. 2 black hole bombs is what needed, and on our way to Splash. Hornet Chaser equipped. And yeah, that is the only issue with using the Hornet Chaser last fight, because the Hornet Chasers can target the fish as well, making for a slightly unoptimal fight. And sometimes good concrete fight on Cab's End. And now we got the Wally Machine fight. Well, our Wally fight period. This is a 3-phase fight with 2 machine phases in the capsule. Sticking with the not the concrete, but the laser trident to make sure these eggs hit the first phase's jaw. You can use the buster, but with the large hitbox and the piercing nature of the laser trident, hitting the eggs is much easier with the laser trident. So first phase down, concrete shot equipped, and down on the ground, which is probably much more beneficial to this pattern, where it's up in the air for quite some time. But you do get to have more concrete shots fired at his jaw as a little bit of compensation here. Alright, so final phase, let's see what the casino gives us. Decently low to the ground to start off with. Wally's being a little favorable in this fight, but yet here we go. Wally being a bit of a jerk. Get into positions where you don't get to plug in a lot of plug balls. But anyway, we got ourselves a finish. MrCab finishing his race with an official time of 36 minutes and 3 seconds. So GG's to yet again both our runners, but thanks to Hyper's forfeit, we got ourselves a race 3. So we're going the distance, everyone. So the breakdown race 2, it pretty much describes what I was expecting from FLALORM if the worst case scenarios happen. Cause observing his races, especially since he's a high level player, when you go for some of the high level strats, it becomes very high risk and high reward. And when you get to situations like that and you get a little clumsy, you tend to make mistakes. Hyper wound up making one too many mistakes that put him in a state where he just couldn't feel like he could continue. So as a result, he wound up forfeiting, and MrCab, being literally the steady turtle against our Hyper's hair, just pretty much just slowly yet surely finishes the race and ensures a win, bringing us to our race 3 right now. So we got MrCab taking a break right quick, so we got us just a little bit of time before our next race comes. But anyway, once again, this is your boy LV Creed. Welcome everyone on SpeedGaming 2. This is the Mega Man 9 Go for Broke 80% tournament. We got MrCab and Hyper, aka FLALORM. Once again, the name just doesn't roll off the tongue. I'm gonna stick with Hyper. But this is race 3 for our best of 3 between these two for the right to face Slurpy Ninja in the next stage of our brackets. We got Hyper being MrCab in race 1, and MrCab being Hyper in race 2 via a Hyper forfeit. So we got ourselves a pretty good matchup here. So for those who are sticking around in SpeedGaming 2, how y'all doing? Are y'all enjoying this race so far? Let me hear y'all in the chat. How y'all doing, everyone? Anyway, it looks like we got our racers rating up. It looks like they're good to go. For the third and final time, it's about time for me to release the floodgates, so let me get these boys going. Alright, for the third and final time for this match, I've released the floodgates. In a few seconds, our boys are gonna be doing the make or break match. Race 3, the final match to move on in the tournament. And like I said, this is actually important. The one thing I actually didn't mention, this is single elimination. So this is literally win or go home for these guys.